Bill and Dave are on the lam, not a scam. Grab your cam, could be in a traffic jam or maybe in Siam. Bill and Dave are hiding out, what's their route? Won't give out, searching Brussels for a sprout. They rarely mill a boat. Bill and Dave are on the lam, on a tram in Rotterdam. Don't you forward them your spam, they're clearly on the lam.
Hey! Well, it's on the lam.
On the lam, yay!
And well, this is yet another Daver and Bill and Marge episode.
Hi.
And we ended the last podcast last week, whenever that is. Sometime in the summer, I guess, this is being heard. The rousing rendition of This Land Is Your Land.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Did that make the cut?
Sure, I hope it did. It was a memorable moment in On the Lam history.
I put a lot of thought into that harmony I sang.
Yeah, me too. I was about ready to go into the second verse, but then I realized we were done. So it's like, nope, turn it off.
Much different than the. I know we talked about one wedding that I performed at with a singer that I had worked with before. I'm like. I gave the obvious look before that we were done, and then she started writing.
Well, maybe she never heard that kind of ending. Maybe she didn't know how songs ended.
She didn't.
Yeah.
She did it and wouldn't. That reminded me of, I hate to talk about something as what you might think of as petty as a television show as just Friends, but I was in the other room and I was going, why am I thinking that there was a kind of funny parody of This Land Is Your Land, This Land Is My Land? And then it hit me. It was an episode of Friends where the character of Joey, who was supposed to be an actor on Friends, this is a story arc of shows they did in Las Vegas. And during the course of the show, Joey discovers that there's a blackjack dealer that is his hand twin, where this guy has the exact same hands that Joey does. They themselves don't look alike, but their hands are identical. And so he wants to somehow, he thinks there must be a way to make $1 million out of this. So he just starts harassing this guy. Come on, we got to do something. We got twin hands. He says, I even thought of a theme song for us. He goes, this hand is my hand. No, this hand is your hand. No, wait, it's my hand. Oh, no, it's your hand. That was hilarious. So anyway, that's my friend spoiler. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the Las Vegas Friends episodes yet.
Speaking of story arcs, have you heard the Jack Benny radio show story arc where he fires the Sportsman Quartet?
No.
I don't know. Because it's been years now since I listened to those.
They are hysterical. Wendy and I listened to them on our last road trip.
They did like the singing commercials.
Right. The Lucky Strike.
Lucky Strike.
Right,
Okay,
right.
I think this sounds familiar.
Boy, the one episode where almost everybody was reading their lines wrong. and they showed up late to the studio, but just one of the jokes was... you go, Jack, you're late. What happened? Well, we went out to the car. We had a flat tire. Then we got stopped by a cop. Then Rochester didn't know what he was talking about.
Oh, was the audience laughing appreciatively?
Yeah. Everything.
Like they just were really...
Yeah. And after the third or fourth one, Jack, breaks character. He goes, all I ask is one rehearsal, one read-through.
Yeah. What's amazing about those shows, and maybe we've talked about this before, is they would do 2 airings of those, and often they were recorded for the armed services, so that's why they survive. They were recorded on wax cylinder to be sent overseas to our troops listened to. They would play them over their radio system, and they would have their script, and they would do one for. They were both all live, but because of the time difference between the two coasts, one would be for the East Coast and one would be for the West Coast, and so sometimes if you collect those episodes, it'll say, the same date, but it'll have a W or an E.
I was just reading also, or actually just saw a documentary on Liberace and his television show. One was broadcast live from somewhere in the West Coast. That immediately following, they taped the same show, but performed it all again for, distribution throughout the rest of the country.
Oh, gee.
And Wendy, asked, well, why did they do that? And the only thing I could come up with is maybe they didn't have the technology at the time to record and broadcast
at the same time.
I don't know.
Yeah, that is interesting. Like, why couldn't they just be recording while it was coming on live?
Yeah.
Unless, they may have needed to go live because of the time on the East Coast, and then they made the recording at their leisure to broadcast to the rest of the country in different time zones, and but they didn't want to record the live one just in case there was a technical glitch, and they thought, well, maybe they record them both, but they only used the one as maybe they treated the live performance as sort of like a dress rehearsal for the rest of the country. I don't know. That's one thinking.
I used to watch his show all the time. I'm sure I've said that on TV.
I think we've talked on the podcast before that you may very well be a distant cousin of Liberace because his mother's maiden name was Zukowski.
Yes.
And did you ever find out conclusively about that? Did you ever make the connection?
No.
There must be a way to do that.
Probably.
There's an HBO biographical movie about Liberace coming out. Michael Douglas is playing Liberace, yeah.
Really?
What was this documentary that you...
It was, some PBS thing. It was hosted by Joanne Castle. Was she an organist?
That sounds familiar.
Like a Lawrence Welk organist?
Yeah. She was the Champagne lady.
The Champagne... Okay. No.
Wasn't she the Champagne lady?
Did you say Joanne Castle?
Wasn't that her name? What was her name?
It sounds right, but something... I don't know. Never mind.
Maybe that was her.
If I had my laptop.
But it looked
Anyway,
like it was probably made in the...
Norma Jean, Norma, what's her name on the Lawrence Welk show? She was the Champagne lady, wasn't she? The real high soprano.
No, I don't know.
Never mind. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What year did he die?
Lawrence Welk or Liberace?
Liberace.
Oh, it's the 70s?
Was it the 70s?
Was it? I thought it was later than that.
Maybe it was the 80s.
80s. Because it looked like this was probably made shortly after he passed away. So it was more of a tribute than a documentary. It had a lot of clips of live performances in there.
Yeah, actually, I think he died in the late 80s.
Yeah, they didn't touch much on, really anything. It was very, it was very soft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But is it going to be like a mini-series?
No, it's just a single movie. Yeah. It's
Michael Douglas.
Yeah, I've seen clips of it. He looks like he's doing a good job. That would not be an easy role to do. No. Without, being politically incorrect or offensive, it would be difficult. And he seems, it's like, oh yeah, I'll buy him as Liberace.
Did I ever tell you about the Alice Cooper book?
This is not ringing a bell.
I think it's called Golf Monster, but he talks about Alice Cooper. He was pretty tied in with all things Hollywood, and one of his good friends actually was Groucho Marx.
This I do know. But, in fact, I think you're the one that told me about this.
But he also claims in his book, believe he said he went to a Liberace show, went backstage afterwards, and Liberace said, "Let me take care of some things, like meet fans and stuff. We'll go out and have a beer or something." He said he came out in a pair of jeans and I don't know what kind of shirt. He said was a regular guy. He said didn't have that slight lisp. He said the whole thing was an act.
Wow.
That's according to Alice Cooper.
Wow. Wow.
That's very interesting.
Liberace makes a very memorable appearance in the movie The Loved One, which was a controversial book about the funeral industry and funeral parlors. And Jonathan Winters was also in it. It starred Robert Morse. We just recently lost Jonathan Winters. But Liberace played a funeral parlor, an undertaker. And that smarminess of him was perfect for that part, And that would have been at a time when I'd say that came out in the mid-'60s, that movie, like 1964, 65. And that would have been right after Liberace was originally real famous in the early to mid-'50s. And this would have been like, well, he's still really in the public mind where, oh yeah, Liberace, he's famous, yeah. And, but this would have been also pre-Liberace's appearance on Batman.
Oh, I wish
Maestro.
I wish they would figure out whatever the legalities are of whatever's holding that up and release that on DVD.
Oh, his television show?
No, the Batman show.
The Batman show.
Was it just 2 seasons?
No, it was on for like 3 or 4 seasons.
Was it that long?
Yeah.
Because that's one that I would probably splurge and own.
You can watch. They're broadcasting them on Channel 23.
Oh, are they?
In the middle of the night. Yeah.
So remember Liberace? He played the piano.
He was playing the piano while Robin was going to be cut up.
Yeah.
And Batman discerned that he figured out that if they sang off at a certain cadence, they would ruin the programming. And so they started going, la, 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 la. But Liberace was playing The Stars and Stripes Forever. Dun, 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 dun. And it was a beautiful recording of it. But then Batman and Robin started singing off key and wait, Robin, I think if we sing a half step down. You can see it on that episode on YouTube. I think I posted a link to it years ago on Facebook. But I think I always imagined Liberace was actually there playing it, but in the actual episode, you just hear a recording of him playing.
Oh, see, because I have
it in my head too. That's one of those false memories.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But he plays at other times.
Yeah.
And so you assume it has to be him playing.
Yeah.
It's this complex piano.
Yeah, he
had to have sat down and done it. But they don't actually show him. That would have been great. That they missed an opportunity by not having him. I think it just that his presence was so vivid that back when you would only see a television show, you couldn't record it, you couldn't rewatch it. That's the impression it left with me, is that he was actually playing. But it's a great episode nonetheless. He was Maestro something, I forget.
And that's something else that's fascinating too. When they weren't aware of the future of videotapes and DVDs and YouTubes, that it's astonishing that they didn't recycle more of the jokes and bits and stuff just on any TV show.
Right, you'd think they'd see more repeated.
Yeah, that they had the integrity is like, now we already did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.